Data from the U.S. Census Bureau indicates some 7 million Texans do not have access to the internet.
Imagine a world where access to the internet is not a luxury, but a fundamental right. A world where everyone, regardless of their background or location, has equal opportunity to thrive in the digital age. Unfortunately, this is not the reality we live in. The digital divide continues to separate millions of people from the transformative power of the internet. In today's video, we're diving deep into the pressing issues that affect individuals, communities, and societies worldwide. Get ready to explore what the digital divide is, why it matters, and most importantly, what can we do to bridge this gap and create a more inclusive and equitable digital future. Here, we believe that cybersecurity is not just about protecting data, it's about empowering people to protect their data. Welcome to Rock Cybersecurity. Hello everyone! Before we begin, if you enjoy cybersecurity topic or wider topic content like this one that you're watching right now, please subscribe and hit that notification bell down there so you get notified every time I post a new video. Also, I cannot stress enough how crucial this topic is, and it's a very, very, very serious topic. And I'm absolutely committed of shedding light on it until we see real results and real solutions. So buckle up and get ready for an eye-opening deep dive into the digital divide. In today's interconnected world, digital technologies have become an integral part of daily life. However, a significant gap exists between those who have access to these technologies and those who do not. This divide is known as the digital divide and affects individuals, communities, and, as I said, societies worldwide. But what exactly this digital divide refers to? This digital divide refers to the gap between those who have access to these technologies, such as computers and the internet, and those who don't. This gap exists on so many different levels, from geographic to economic to educational to societal to even healthcare, and it affects individuals, communities, and even entire nations. In 2021, the Pew Research Center reported that 7% of Americans, which is approximately 23 million people, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of people, do not use internet, and 23% do not even have access to broadband connection at home. It's not 22% of the 7%, it's 23% of the whole American population. 23%. And if you can see in this graph, the majority of these people are over 65. But looking at all the other demographics, from the difference between male and female, and ethnicities and backgrounds and stuff like that, we can paint a much better picture on who is affected by this the most. So just by looking at this graph, I don't want to repeat this again and again like other people have done, but if you're looking at it, older people are the most affected, and also Black people, marginalized people, usually Black women in America and in the society overall. But this is not just an American problem. Here in the UK, according to Lloyds Bank UK Consumer Index document in 2018, 8% of people in the UK, which is about 4.3 million people, is not as much as the number of people in America, but UK is it's a much smaller country. These 8% of people in the UK were estimated to have zero basic digital skills. Zero. Nothing. They didn't even know how to use a computer. And 12% which is around 6.4 million adults, were estimated to only have limited abilities online. These numbers have been declining, which is a great thing, but the Center of Economics and Business Research estimated that 7.9 million people will still lack digital skills by 2025. This impacts everyone. It doesn't stop in the US, it doesn't stop in the UK, it's everywhere in the world. But as I mentioned, this impact is across multiple levels regarding society. Now, let's see what's the exact impact across all these categories. The consequences of the digital divide are far-reaching and affects multiple aspects of life. Education is heavily impacted, as students without internet access or devices face challenges in accessing educational material, online learning platforms, and digital literacy programs. This divide limits their educational opportunities and hampers their ability to acquire digital skills necessary for future success. This goes very, very deeply. We can't say that everybody has the same opportunities and the same access, because we don't. Our background matter. The money that we are being raised in, the level of care that we are being given matters, and the level of access matters. Even at the lower level, nobody gets equal opportunity. If you can't access the internet, and if you can't get the same learning programs like everybody else is doing around you, you're obviously not going to be at an educational level the same level as your peers are going to be. It's just obvious. But anyway, let's move on, because otherwise I'm going to get really annoyed really fast.
Not having internet has been difficult because most everything is internet-based, so there's a lot more stress on the students to find a way to actually do their homework.
It's just exciting knowing that I'm going to go to college, like my dream is coming true.
We grew up living poor. We want to see what it's like to have a chance.
Talent like 15-year-old Jaylee Persinger,
I really like this one.
I like that one too.
who does not have broadband at her house in Hyco, West Virginia.
How does the lack of fast service impact your schoolwork at home?
Well, it makes it very hard. It takes me about like a minute to 5 minutes to like reconnect. And by that time, with my ADHD, I'm like, okay, is this even like worth doing?
Did you hear on time today? Yeah. Attaboy.
Jaylee's principal, Richard Pettit, says some students can't connect to the internet at all.
We have a lot of kids that live up in the back hollers of the area that just doesn't have the option, or they can't afford it at home. If we don't do something to address the gap, we can only determine that we're going to leave people behind.
2. Economic opportunities are also affected, as individuals without digital skills or access struggle to participate fully in the digital economy. This further widens income inequality and perpetuates social disparities on a global scale. This leaves marginalized communities behind.
Susan Crawford, director of Harvard's Berkman Center for Internet and Society, says in 21st century America, being on the wrong side of the digital divide can be devastating for economic growth.
The risk of not treating our rural areas well when it comes to high-speed internet access is that they become even more hollowed out than they already are, that their population just vanishes, that they are no longer sustainable places to live. Who would buy a house today without high-speed internet access? Why would you do that? And so you're leaving these places and their property values at tremendous risk of simply collapse.
And speaking of leaving marginalized communities behind, the digital divide also reinforces social exclusion and exacerbates inequality between societies. Marginalized groups, including low-income communities, rural populations, people with disabilities, as well as older adults, are disproportionately affected. Limited access to digital technologies limits their ability to connect with others, access vital information and services, sometimes vital for their health, and participate fully in the digital world. This exclusion widens the societal gap and perpetuates social inequalities.
Growing up, we did have technology, but not enough. And on top of that, it was shared between the siblings and the parents rule over everything. So it was always hard being the last one getting my hands on anything. The access was still very limited. And it stunts your creativity, it stunts how you feel and how you move, simply because the things that you see available for other people aren't quite available for you.
The digital divide also impacts healthcare access and outcome. Individuals without access to digital technologies, reliable internet connectivity, or telehealth services face barriers in seeking medical advice, accessing health information, and even benefiting from digital health solutions. This divide can lead to disparities in healthcare access, particularly in underserved and remote areas, further exacerbating the existing health inequalities. This situation has been intensified during the 2020 pandemic. This particular time has highlighted how crucial it is the role of digital technologies in accessing healthcare, including telehealth services, as I said, online consultation and digital health resources. This disparities intensifies with marginalized communities, including low-income individuals, racial and ethical minorities, and rural populations, often already facing higher barriers to digital healthcare access. And to be honest, regarding healthcare and regarding everything, some of these people, I will get into this just a bit later, but some of these people genuinely don't have time to go and be seen by doctors. So there's nothing being put in place to ease up that access for them. Sometimes they can't take a day off. For people in rural places that work in farms, for example, animals don't just wait for you to go to the doctor. Like, they still need to be fed and cleaned and everything. So these type of technologies are crucial for a lot of people, and they have little to no access to them. Number 5, on the last point, is the digital divide has implication for democratic participation and civic engagement. This topic really needs a video on its own, and I can get into it in a much detailed video with much more information, because honestly, just researching it made me so angry. Let me know down below if you would be interested in me getting into it and kind of exploring this democratic participation of people that are in low-income communities or marginalized communities. When certain segments of the population lack access, their voices are marginalized. Honestly, with everything that I've said so far, I think their voices being marginalized is like literally the last point that they will think of, but we need to fix this problem too. And they are excluded from vital on our platforms for civic disclosure and decision making. This can impact how people vote and in what community decisions they get involved. This is a massive quote that I found in the journal article titled Sociological Implication of Scientific Publishing, Open Access, Science, Society, Democracy, and the Digital Divide by Ulrich Herb. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. This article was published First Monday, Volume 15, Number 2, on the 1st of February 2010. So it's been out for a while, but it's very important to have a look at and see what type of assumptions people have. Quote, democracy concepts of participative democracy assume that there is intense participation in political and societal processes by as many citizens as possible. The broad expertise of citizens is the basis of a truly functioning democracy. This requires open discourse about as many relevant topics as possible in order to serve democratic principles and to reach rational and reasonable decisions and governance based on broad participation. Civil rights, such as the freedom of assembly and the freedom of the press, are derived from this concept. More detailed thoughts about democracy and participation were formulated by Hungen Habermas, 1984. I really hope I also pronounced their name correctly. If not, I apologize. Both the science-related justification of open access and the participative model of democracy share the same meta-assumption. Free access to information and free exchange of information facilitate optimized discussion, regardless of whether it is focused on scientific or political questions. Now, it's a great quote, and it shows how certain people see the world. It's very important to see what type of assumptions people have before being able to address those assumptions. Sorry about the whole lighting situation. It's just gotten dark outside and it started raining, so I'm just gonna work with this. So, all that being said, people don't have access to any of these things. This assumption is being made from a very, very, very privileged place. And some marginalized communities don't ever fit into that assumption. They can't even try to fit into that assumption. They don't even have time to do all of that. And this problem is not as easy as just saying, well, they should just get involved. Do better. Stop being lazy. If one more person tells me that poor people are lazy, I'm gonna flip. Genuinely, I'm gonna flip. That is not the reality of marginalized communities. And with everything, and when I mean everything in their day, being made 10 times more difficult from accessing high-speed internet, or internet at all to begin with, to everything else that we've discussed until now. Some people have to work multiple jobs just to sustain their families. Yes, they have to work nights. Yes, they have to work weekends. It's hard out there, especially now with the cost of increasing, everything's increasing in price. The cost of living is just skyrocketed. How are people supposed to cope? They can't. And this happens in everybody's backyard/garden, depending on where you're from. This is not a problem that only affects poor countries, even though that would still be a big problem. The issue exists in every single country around this world, including UK and including the US. And that is why it's also very, very important to talk about.
3/4 of households in Indigenous communities don't have access to high-speed internet. RBC surveyed 2,000 Indigenous youth and found they were 13% less likely than non-Indigenous youth to describe themselves as having enough digital skills to thrive.
Our young people get left further and further behind, and it exacerbates the issue of young people leaving our communities.
Now, this wouldn't be Rock Cybersecurity without me talking about a cybersecurity angle of this issue, would it? The digital divide has far-reaching consequences beyond social and economic disparities. And one of the critical areas affected by this digital divide is also cybersecurity. From a limited access to security tools to a lack of cybersecurity awareness, the lack of exposure to a plethora of tools and knowledge widens the gap between how people interact with technology and how they protect themselves against cyber attacks. This makes them even more vulnerable to these attacks, putting their personal information as well as financial assets and online privacy at risk. These inequalities are not only shown at a personal level, they are also predominant in business and organizations. Small businesses and entities in underserved areas with limited digital access may lack the necessary resources to implement robust cybersecurity measures. They don't even have the knowledge to know how to even start sometimes. This disparity in protections makes them attractive to targets for cybercriminal, potentially leading to data breaches, financial losses, and reputational damage. For small businesses, one of the most important assets they have is their reputation. That's how they get new clients. That's how they keep their existing clients. And this reputational damage can be, honestly, like business crucial. And they can close businesses. People close businesses because their reputation has been damaged. Not to even start to say that for small businesses, any sort of attack has a major impact for them. It's a different story when a massive corporation is being hit. They have the money and resources and brains, to be honest, within the organizations to be able to recover and to keep making money and recover from their loss. And when a company produces so much and has so much in profit, maybe their profits will lower down 1 year or a couple of years in a row. But for small enterprises, which a lot of people are into that are in marginalized communities, an attack like a cyber attack can be fatal to their business. Bridging the digital divide through initiatives that promote digital inclusion, provide access to cybersecurity tools and resources and knowledge, and improve cybersecurity education is crucial for building a more secure and resilient digital ecosystem. Efforts to bridge the divide will strengthen global cybersecurity, empower individuals, and promote the safer digital environment for all. I've said all of these things, and it's kind of depressing. It did definitely depress me on researching all of this and putting this script together. But there's a bright side to all of this. Things are happening. There's so much that is being done in the world for this digital divide to be closed, or it's slowly closing. There is some good news, and there are numerous efforts being made to bridge the digital divide. Governments, non-profit, and private organizations are working together to implement initiatives aimed at increasing internet access and digital literacy. There are numerous ways we can bridge this gap, and here are some of the most important ones. I will also link in the description all of the organizations that I've mentioned. Please give them some love or give them some support or find out how you can get involved. From an infrastructural development point of view, building reliable and affordable internet infrastructure in underserved areas is essential to provide access to those who currently lack it. So when I talk about internet access, the internet just doesn't show up at people's houses. It's not a magical thing. There's a cable that needs to be pulled, and that cable has a whole infrastructure behind it. I can get into the whole details of it and how the internet works and how all of us have internet at home through cables. If you want me, let me know down below if you want me to go through all of that. But this requires a physical infrastructure. Governments and organizations around the world are investing in infrastructure projects to enhance connectivity.
Broadband isn't a luxury anymore, it's a necessity.
Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo is leading the Biden administration's $65 billion broadband push as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law signed in 2021. Bravo. Working to make it universally available in about 5 years. Raimondo's broader mission is maintaining America's competitiveness with China. She says internet access is critical.
It's really essential to our competition.
So are we at a disadvantage right now?
Tapping into everyone in America, boys, girls, people of color, people living in rural America, will make us stronger. And if those are the people who don't have the internet, we're losing out on their talent.
At a digital literacy program level, promoting digital literacy programs is essential to ensure individuals have the skills to utilize these technologies effectively. Government and NGOs, we love it when a government does a good thing, doesn't it? Yeah, we do. They're offering training initiatives to enhance digital literacy, such as basic computer skills, internet usage, and online safety. We love to see it. Yes, we do. For instance, the European Commission's Digital Skills and Job Coalition supports various programs across Europe to improve digital skills for all citizens. And I have a few examples here. I'll also link the entire directory down below where I got these examples from. And I'm pretty sure there is one, at least one of them, is available in your country if you're watching from Europe. Now, some of the examples that I've pulled out is expanding Europe's cybersecurity talent pool, and Microsoft pledged to the EU Cybersecurity Skills Academy. This is done in 27 countries in Europe. Together for Digital Education in Italy, and Portugal Tech Week 2023 in Portugal, obviously, and there's so many more others. It's a wonderful place to go into and see how much good is being done in this world to solve this issue. Have a look, find what you can do in your country, and try to get involved if you would like to. I encourage you to do that. Now, targeted support for vulnerable population is also very important. Implementing targeted initiatives to provide digital devices, internet access, and technical support to individuals and communities facing the greatest barriers to digital healthcare access. Reducing the cost of digital technologies and internet access is vital. Because also, let's not forget, some people live near an infrastructure, but they just don't have the money to pay for the internet or for the devices that they have to have in order to use that internet. Governments and organizations are implementing initiatives to provide subsidies or low-cost plans to disadvantaged communities. For example, India's Digital India program offers affordable internet connectivity to rural areas through initiatives like, I'm going to put the name down here, Barnet, which aims to connect over 250,000 village panchayats. I'm so sorry if that's incorrect, which are local government units, with high-speed internet. Even India is doing something. Isn't that great? That's amazing! And then on a final note, collaboration among stakeholders. Engaging healthcare providers, policymakers, technology companies, as well as community organizations in collaborative efforts to address the digital divide in healthcare access, sharing resources, and developing innovative solutions. Public-private partnerships can bring together resources, expertise, and funding to implement inclusive initiatives. For example, Connect Home USA is a public-private partnership in the United States that aims to provide affordable internet access, devices, and digital literacy training to families living in public and assisted houses. Isn't that great? They don't just give them internet access, they also give them the devices, and they don't just give them the devices, they also teach them how to use them properly. That's amazing. That's an all-rounded solution. It's not a solution that just say, there you have it, figure it out. That's amazing. At the same time, local community organizations also play a vital role in addressing the digital divide. They can create digital hubs, community centers, or mobile computer labs to provide access to digital technologies and training. For example, I love this part of this video, the foundation, this is the name of the foundation, in Kenya, set up solar-powered computer centers in remote villages, enabling residents to access educational resources and develop their digital skills. That's amazing. Other honorable mentions are, I love it. I have to give it to you. It's amazing. The initiatives exploring satellite-based internet service, such as SpaceX Starlink, which aims to expand connectivity to underserved regions globally, use the satellites. The World Bank Digital Development Global Practice, who is partnering with governments, telecommunication companies, and development organizations to support connectivity projects in developing countries. The Internet of All initiatives, led by the International Telecommunication Unit and other stakeholders, which aims to ensure universal internet access by 2023.
So Human IT really originated from the idea of bringing humanity and technology together. We create equitable access to opportunities by providing devices, internet access, digital skills training, and technical support for communities left on the wrong side of the digital divide. Since our founding 10 years ago, we have diverted over 12 million pounds of e-waste from landfills, refurbished and distributed 500,000 devices, assisted over 100,000 households with high-speed, low-cost internet connections, and provided 80,000 people with technical support services.
If you have to get in touch with a worker or some things, go to the store, it's all online now. So if you don't have those skills, you're going to be left out.
Having access to the internet is basically having access to the greatest storehouse of information ever created in human history. That is where information is, and that's where opportunity lives. And if you're going to, help folks, I think a good first step is making sure they have access to that information, so that way, they can help themselves, right? They can pursue their own passions and goals.
There's so many levels that solutions do exist at. It's amazing. And it's amazing to see that so many companies and nonprofits are trying to help their local community with these issues which affect everyone and also are very, very important for their educational needs, healthcare needs. We live in such massive digital world right now where we have to be connected to the internet to be able to participate properly in the world. All these examples shows how much progress is being made and how much more we have to do to close this gap. By combining infrastructure development, affordability measures, digital literacy programs, public-private partnerships, community-based initiatives, technological innovation, and international collaborations, we can make a significant progress in ensuring equitable access to digital technologies and opportunities for all individuals and communities. In conclusion, the digital divide is a significant challenge that must be addressed to ensure equal opportunities for all. By raising awareness, advocating for change, and supporting initiatives that bridge this gap, we can create a more inclusive and equitable digital society. Please support any of the organizations that I mentioned in this video or any of your local organizations. If you know any of the other good things that are being done into the world, please share them with us down below. We want to know. We want to spread the word and also share any volunteering, resources, or advocacies for policies, which are also very, very important, that promote this digital inclusion. I hope you found this video informative. It's been a roller coaster for me. It was very infuriating while I was going through every single thing that the digital divide is being affected by, and it's widening this gap, but also so encouraged to see how much good is being done into this world. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that notification bell for more cybersecurity insights or talk about technology in general. I'll be here for your awareness. I believe that together we can work towards a world where the digital divide is no longer a barrier for anyone in the world. As Shelby from Shelby's channel says, sorry Shelby, I tried. I love this quote, and she's amazing. She's a sustainability queen. But she says, you cannot do all the good that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that you can do. Please get involved, and remember, staying informed and adopting best practices is crucial to maintain strong security measures. I'll see you next time with more cybersecurity topics. Bye!